What's up YouTube, Mr. Limacey here, and this is going to be our official guide video for the Mosaic Phoenix Strike Assassin. Now, this is going to be going through a lot of different pieces about it. I'm going to be using all my experience, all of everything I have with this character to discuss, and it's really interesting because I do think it's a character that evolves as you're playing along, and you'll make adjustments to how you play and what charges you build, depending on what gear and things you get. So, first, let's go ahead, and I'm going to actually switch to this screen and dive into just the stats. You're going to put enough strength and dexterity for whatever claws you are using, and then the rest into vitality. You do not need to really get giant, great big claws. The biggest thing you're looking for is something like this. This is a 2 to Phoenix Strike, 3 to Blades of Ice Claw right here. I would definitely say focusing on Phoenix Strike and Blades of Ice would be the places that I would focus my claws. So definitely kind of aim for better there. And then aiming for that better cold and lightning skill damage if you can. This one rolled 12, 12, 14. You know, they roll 8 to 15 on each of those. What you gonna do? So this one is plus 2 to Phoenix Strike, plus 1 to Weapon Block, and it rolled 11, 14, 9. So not bad either, but those will be kind of your focuses right there. And you can see this is 79, this is 82. So I actually have a little too much strength and dexterity now. I haven't respec'd in a while, but I could go for less strength and less dexterity overall and get a little bit more vitality. For the skills, this is where you're going to get some options, okay? I recommend max on these 4. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I don't have a point in Shadow Warrior. That's just coming from my claws. And then maxing Fade. This is my personal recommendation. I do think you're going to want Fade because if you look at my resistances right now without Fade, they're not amazing, right? They're pretty iffy. This character is a little hard to get really strong resistances on. Fade will help that a lot. Plus, you can see I get physical damage received reduced by 30%. That's right. Every single point in Fade will give you another 1% of physical damage reduction, which is amazing. So not only am I getting 69 all res, but I'm also getting 30% physical damage reduction and 85% curse duration reduced, which is nice. However, do note this also works on shrines. So if you take a shrine while you have this active, let me actually go find a shrine really fast. Come on, shrines. Where are all the shrines at? They're all going to be stacked in like one spot, huh? There we go. If you take a shrine while you have this active, we'll just kind of sit here and chill. You will note that this shrine will have 85% reduction on its uptime. Now, I believe this one has probably like 144 seconds, but there you go. It's already worn off. That's awful. What can you do to help this? If you take the shrine while Fade is not active and then activate Fade, you will now get this shrine for the full duration. So anytime you come across an experience shrine or anything like that, just make sure that you really want, just make sure to deactivate your Fade really fast and then activate it again after you grab it. Funny little piece. This character has a couple funny little pieces to it overall. So that is the one piece there with Fade. Additionally here, Burst of Speed is of course great, but you know your resistances will be pretty low, whereas now you can see my res are much higher. If you're able to get your res really high without Fade and you don't care about the damage reduction as much, getting a high Burst of Speed could be really nice for this character just to kick even faster, build up charges faster, all of that, right? I have nothing in traps. If you wanted, you could like max Death Sentry, but this character probably won't need it. And like I said, I prefer maxing it in this capacity. Now, this is something that's another oddity and something that they don't explain on the skill. So hopefully them seeing this, they will adjust it. Fist of Fire converts physical damage to fire damage at a rate of your skill level times 3. So this is current skill level times 3 equals percent fizz converted to fire. Okay? That is just for Fist of Fire. None of the other skills do this. So, if your Fist of Fire is level 34 or higher, you will convert 100% of physical damage to fire damage. If it is 33 or lower, you will not convert all of it over. Now, what does this mean? This means if you still want to run Leech from Cobra Strike, you can actually drop your Fist of Fire down, just put 1 point into Fist of Fire. It'll maybe be up to like 19 or 20 after you have, you know, all of your plus to skills. You'll get like 60% damage converted from physical to fire. You'll still get 40% of your physical damage, which then means Cobra Strike will still leech. Of course, if you have it higher like I do right now, I'll go ahead and show you. Let me build up some charges right here. I build up that, and I'll build up Cobra charges, so I have Fist of Fire and Cobra charges. I will not leech. And you can note, because mana should be leeching as well, but when I hit things, I am not leeching any mana, nor am I technically leeching any life either. So, if you want to run the fire damage as well, it can be nice damage addition, but you will not get any of that leech. However, with 1 point in Fist of Fire, like I said before, your Cobra Strike will now also leech. So in this case, you could run these charges as well, and you could run Tiger Strike. You could run all 6 charges right there. And that would probably be your overall highest, best damage output, I would imagine. While still being able to leech, because you will get some, you know, still some nice Fist of Fire damage. It won't be this 3600, 3900, and then the 23, you know, to 2400, but you might be able to get, you know, 1000 fire damage, whatever, which is still really nice. So that could be potentially highest, but what you're missing with that setup, which is why I have my setup like this, is Fist of Fire like this gives me the highest meteor damage right here. You can see 10% fire damage per level and 6% average fire damage per second per level. And so when I go around and kill a bunch of people's declones, and I go around and kill, you know, a bunch of people's Ubers and things like this, having that meteor damage is very nice because I just build up 1 point in meteor, run over to the declone, or 1 point in Phoenix Strike, run over to declone, kick him a few times, the meteors come down, and he dies. So I don't have to go in and build up, you know, 21 charges or 18 charges and then go over to him and try and kill him, and I'm not using meteor, so it still goes fine, but it's not quite as fast and all of that stuff. Again, this is kind of up to you. If you want to do the other build, you can take the points from Fist of Fire, just do the 1 point there, and then probably just max Tiger Strike. This will give you a really big damage boost. You can see damage plus 40% right there already, just at level 20. So you get a really big damage boost from pushing it all there. That will convert some over into your physical, and then of course you'll also get Cobra Strike. You have to run more charges with that build, the 6 charges if you want to get the full effect, but it will be really nice overall. So, like I say, it just kind of depends. Do you want to be able to build one quick, you know, meteor charge to kill regular Diablo, regular Bale, declone, that stuff? Or do you really want to focus on going more into the all about of it, right? Being able to have that overall best damage. I think both are really solid. This is just the current setup that I use. And like I said, I still like maxing Fade because for that Fade, this helps my resistances. So now let's take a look at the gear that I'm using and a little bit of how I would shift around with those pieces. Currently I'm using, of course, dual mosaics because you need dual mosaics. I have a Griffin's right here. It's just a 2415, so decent, not amazing. I got a 5.4 in it, but you know, it's all right. I have a 25 All-Res Maras. I have Enigma, obviously, right here. Trang Owls, an Arachnid Mesh. This is just a dual res ring. I just wanted high resistances to help my res, because you can see my light and fire are not quite perfect. So I just want something there. A Raven Frost with as much dexterity as I can get, so 20 Raven. And then Nat's Boots, and I did upgrade them to Bone Weave Boots, so I also want the 118 strength for that. Again, cold and light res on this, plus the 40 fast run walk is really nice. And a little extra kick damage there from the Bone Weave, which is solid. Then for charms, I just have a bunch of little resist charms that I've kind of found, cold and light res for the most part. And then martial arts skillers, some life ones, and then a cold and light sunder. I also have infinity on my mercenary. He just has treachery. I need to just make his fort. I got the low rune and Andy's helm. So obviously the infinity for that conviction aura. Now, like I was saying about this, there are many options throughout that you'll be doing with your gear. Obviously you need 2 mosaics. This build doesn't work without that. Once you have that though, you really do get a lot of options of, do you want to run Maras? Do you want to run an assassin amulet with FCR? That could be helpful. If I could get a 210 amulet and then a 10 FCR ring, now I have enough FCR, I can swap these gloves off, and I could, for instance, put my 3 to martial arts skills back on, right? So that, you know, always becomes an option right there. If you don't have Enigma, I was using Hustle prior to this, and I thought it was great. That big, faster run walk was really, really nice. You get 10 all reds, a little help right there. But being able to get good mobility from that, very solid. Shaco's another great option in place of that Griffin's. You get some MF from it, which is really nice. You get more life and mana from it. You get +2 to all skills, some damage reduction. It's a very solid helm. Griffin's, I think, is a little more optimized, but again, I think you're in a great spot still. You do want Cannot Be Frozen somewhere. Raven Frost works. If you can't get it from Raven, you might be looking at, I used Duriel Shell really early on. Spirit Shroud works. You could make something like, is it Bulwark? No, not Bulwark. Hearth? Is that the new rune word that gives Cannot Be Frozen? Some sort of Cannot Be Frozen piece right there. Arachnid Mesh, great for the +1 skills and the 20 FCR. Otherwise, you know, there's lots of belts, Gold Wrap, whatever. Verdungo's, String of Ears, anything that you want right there in that case. So I have this because the Assassin Breakpoint is 65 FCR, so 20, 40, 65. Like I say, that's a good place to be at for when you're teleporting around with Enigma. If you're not teleporting around with Enigma, you're not going to need that, so you can run, you know, those +3 gloves right there. You can run, you know, 2 skills right here, whatever stuff. But you'll kind of be looking at where am I doing all that. So if you want to swap this into a magic finding build, you definitely can, right? You could take these and put some war traps in. You could put a Nagel ring right there. You could put Shakeawan instead of this for more magic find. Obviously, Enigma has big magic find. You could put Chanseys if you want as well in those slots. And you can, of course, remove some of these skillers for magic finding there. I think this is easy to get to 400 magic find. No work at all. And you'll be in a great, great spot and live in a very happy life. So very easy, I think you can get there. And I think you can even go higher with it. I mean, a little bit of work, but yeah. Like I was saying, for the claws, the reason you don't need to worry too much about the claws is because your IS breakpoints, it's all like personal preference. If you hit at 4 attacks, then the next hit delay shouldn't be there for some of your skills, which is going to be helpful because Phoenix Strike 2 and 3 and Claws of Thunder 2 and 3 all have next hit delay on them. But that just kind of comes down to you're now hitting slower with each of the kicks and stuff. I don't think it's a big deal. I kind of like hitting faster. Also, having that faster IS helps you when you're building the charges. So, for instance, if I go out here and I want to build charges, you know, I can build my charges faster by building them like this than if I was, you know, doing it the other way. So, yeah. And I'm using kick because I get 4 kicks out of it. So I get 4 kicks at 3,600 to 34,000 damage with this current build setup like that, which is enough damage to just go and just blow everything up. If you're going for the Dragon Claw, you can still get really good damage. I have a separate build that I have written for Dragon Claw, and there you're usually going like Max Tiger Strike and Cobra, and you're doing the Dragon Claw and maybe like Blades of Ice and whatever. But it's a little bit different build. But I just like getting your quick 4 kicks because you get so many of those charges shot off at once. That's really what the build, I would say, is about, is getting a lot of quick kicks and a lot of the charges all at once. Now, if you wanted to put more points into Dragon Talon, you totally could. Get higher kicks, but then you're stuck in place. Sorry, for a longer amount of time. So that's kind of something to debate right there. In regards to these Sunder charms that I have right here, I'm currently running a Cold and Light Sunder, but the reason I'm running this is because I have this Infinity, right? Without the Infinity, I don't think it's actually worth to really run these because, for instance, what does this do? This just makes it so now monsters that were cold immune have 95% cold resistance. And I have nothing else that's going to be dropping their cold resistance, really. So it's kind of pointless. It's like, cool, they have 95% cold res now, and now I still do like no damage to them because I'm only dealing 5% of all cold damage to them right there anyways. Until you get this Infinity or something that has a nice minus cold res, it's kind of whatever. The only piece that it does do is it does allow them to be frozen and slowed, so it can help you in that way if you're feeling like I need a little more defensiveness. That can be really nice. For the Lightning Sunder Charm, I think once you get something like Griffins, this can be helpful because obviously that can drop it down. And then obviously with Infinity as well, it really starts to drop that down. So I think you kind of shift these in as your character builds, but really starting out, I wasn't playing with those Sunder charges. What I was doing instead is I would go to the Cold Plains. I would build up charges first of whatever I wanted to build. Generally, I build as such, which is 2 Phoenix Strike, 3 to Claws of Thunder, 3 to Blades of Ice, 3 to Cobra Strike. So 2, 3, 3, 3 is generally my build out. And then I would go wherever it was that I wanted to go, Ancient's Way or anything like that, because let's be honest, sometimes you're out here and you try and go like out and there's a bunch of these pike women and things and you can't build your charges in time and you're just getting slaughtered while you're trying to do it. So you can kind of go back prior. And then remember that, you know, these charges will last for, how long do they last? 14 seconds, something like that. So once they, you know, you have a little time to kind of like get between monsters and things. 15 seconds, okay. And stuff like that. But you always want to get a kickoff to refresh that timer whenever you can. So that is like a nice thing that they implemented where you can kind of keep that going right now. Try and think. Anything else with that? I guess I would say if I would then run into monsters or areas that had really high like cold lightning enchanted monsters or just like hold immune, light immune, things like that, then I would always be okay to swap on my fire charges at that point. So if for some reason this wasn't doing it, I was like, man, this is just not getting the job done, I would just go and put on some fire charges. I would lose my leech for that area or for that boss, that monster, whatever it was. But you'll notice that, boom, your fire damage is actually super explosive, does a ton of damage, and you're murdering everything even faster with that. So that was something that I always liked, was putting that on at that point, just to have a little bit. But that's, of course, if you're running Fist of Fire above that 33. If you're running it below, then you could always have that running at that time. So, yeah. And ultimately, I think my damage right there is 42k. If I stack up my highest charges. I guess I didn't have... let me put on Fire. And Tiger Strike. There you go, 45k. 12k to 45k is my damage. And you can definitely go higher. I mean, again, this is with 65 FCR that I have. So I can teleport around. So I'm not running my +3 to, you know, my +3 martial arts skill is there. I'm not running pieces that you can't see a little bit, like the -res from Griffins, right? Shaco might show a little bit more. The facet in or something, like there's still more damage that you could see. I just have a 1 bow CTA. I need a better one. But that is the character. She can clear really any content, which is kind of her like beauty, I would say. If you're fighting Declone and you need to kill Declone, she can do it. If you're fighting Uber, she can do it. If you're fighting against, you know, Bale, if you're fighting against giant waves, giant groups of monsters, she can kill it. She can kill every single wave within, you know, the throne room right there. You will want some leech from that Cobra Strike, because remember, if you're running this fire as well, all of your physical damage is getting converted to fire, which means none of your life leech or mana leech or anything is going to work, because none of that's going to work, right? Because you have 0 physical damage, and that's what it is. Also, like I said before, the charge management can be really annoying with this character. So if there is too long between his laughs, things like that, you can lose charges. It can be really awful. So the time between Lister and Bale, the time between waves sometimes, especially wave 3 and 4 if there's Hydras, that can be a problem. And what you can do, I'll show you right here when we get to it. If they get a Hydra down, I'm not sure they'll get a Hydra down, but... Alright, let's pretend that they got a Hydra down. You can wait till the Hydra disappears. And then you can come out here and just kick something random and then come back in. Refreshes your charges in between the waves so you don't drop the charges between wave 3 and 4, right? So little things that you can do for the character, but I mean, really, the character is pretty self-sufficient and pretty amazing. Like I say, waves, every wave, every character. Again, same with Bale. You can even leave a TP up here so then he won't laugh again while you go out to get your charges. Make sure your charges are good. And now he'll go in and you still carry your charges over if you don't want to build your meteor charges for him. And it's that easy. It's that easy. Pretty much close to max res right now. Like I said, you can do some more resistances with better rings, better charms. You could run a 15 all res charm, whatever it is. You'll definitely want some higher stuff if you can in some places. But yeah, it's definitely a character you can just keep building up and making better and better, which is really awesome. Yeah. I hope that this was helpful to you guys. I hope it gave you some cool little budget options, some different ideas for how you want to play it, some more introspect into different pieces of the character. I guess I can take that off. Different builds, all those things. If this was helpful, if you got Other recommendations, anything, please leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell, because apparently not enough of you have rung that bell. YouTube complained to me. It said we were under the average of YouTube of bell ringers. So, gotta ring the bell more, I guess. Mwah! Kisses to you all. Peace, everybody. I'll see you guys next video.